Maine has some of the country's most beautiful cruising waters for boaters. However, if you are new to boating or new to boating in Maine, it should be noted that Maine is home to an abundant lobster fishery and has a growing number of sea farms and aquaculture sites. Navigating around lobster gear is not always as easy as it may appear. Lobstermen are not required to put their gear in certain places. They put their gear where there tend to be the most lobsters. Sea farms and aquaculture sites are restricted to designated lease sites and tend to be outside of major navigation channels. However, caution should still be used to identify and steer clear of these locations. Lobster buoy configurations differ along the coast of Maine. Lobster traps are set on the sea floor with a line to the surface. Boaters need to recognize the often colorful lobster buoys that have a spindle or stick-like protrusion coming out of one end. Some lobster fishing zones use a toggle system along with their primary buoys.
Western Maine, most of the fishermen use one buoy because they don't have as much tide as we do. Eastern Maine, almost everybody uses a buoy and a toggle of some kind in the shoal water. Any place that there was a lot of tide, most everybody fishes toggles, because if you don't, your buoy is just like this, and when you gaff it, you got a strain to pull it back up in the block. With a toggle on, you got a few seconds of slack rope to get that in the block.
Navigating around toggle systems can be the most challenging because toggles can vary in size, color, and shape. Some can even look the same as the primary buoy. Passing between a primary buoy and a toggle does increase the chances of snagging a line because it usually cannot be seen under the surface. Certain sailboats or deep draft vessels may be the most apt to accidentally snag a line. Toggles and sometimes entire buoys can get pulled just beneath the surface during extremely high tides or in heavy currents, so an attentive lookout and not using autopilots is the best prevention. Here are some tips to avoid issues. Lobster buoy spindles tend to point downwind or down current. Aim to pass on the downwind or down current side of the colored buoy so that the wind or current does not push you over them. Toggles are usually smaller foam or plastic buoys that are connected to a primary buoy with about 40 to 60 feet of line that sags below the surface. The line from the toggle to the buoy is easier to snag. Staying downwind of colored buoys will help avoid this issue. Do not rely on prop cutters. Cutting lines releases traps in a way that does not allow them to be recovered, creating hardship for fishermen and the environment. Don't run at high speeds, especially in fog, darkness, or challenging visibility. Sea farms can be identified by yellow buoys that mark the four corners of a lease site. The buoys differ in size and shape from farm to farm. Boaters should be mindful not to pass within the four corners of the farm. Some operations have obvious pens, gear, and floats on the surface, but others may have subsurface infrastructure that is less visible. Boating the coast of Maine is a special experience. There is an incredible coastline, beautiful harbors, and lots of fresh seafood to enjoy. Please be respectful of our fishing and sea farming industries and the environment because we all share and love Maine waters.